just getting my New Year's Eve plans together.
You're late, motherfucker.
Should blame that on Uber.
I just wanted to say that one last time for 2022.
Facts. Any New Year's plans, bro?
To be number one as always, man. To be great. Y'all looking at living legends right here, man. The kings of this culture. Just gonna
Facts.
keep doing what we do. That's my New Year's resolution. Anything else, I ain't changing shit. I love who I am.
Oh, I meant New Year's Eve plans.
Oh, nah, I'm chilling, man. I'm at the crib chilling. It's raining out. I ain't partying. I don't drink and all that. So I'm chilling. Be hitting the Xbox One after this, man. I got some games to play.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I might go spend some time with Aisha and shit later on this evening. I already did my deliveries. I already went to the barber shop.
Nice.
Actually, no, I have to go to the ABC store. That's why I gotta be done with this by 8 o'clock. Cause our ABC stores close at 9.
Right.
So I'm just gonna do this breakdown and play some Super Smash Brothers.
You know it.
Been listening to Commodores all fucking day. What's good, everybody in the chat? Oh, this is cute.
That package Eric sent out is finally coming. It took a while.
Oh, when's it coming?
They said Tuesday, so
That's
we'll
what's
see.
up.
Hopefully it get here.
Yeah, hopefully my check gets here next week too. And shout out to the people, Eric, Ashley, Mike, all them niggas,
Yes.
BJ.
BJ.
And if y'all do go out partying, make sure y'all stay safe. Welcome back. How's your family doing?
I'm chilling, man. Everybody's good. Had a good Christmas. Just waiting for the new year to ring in the new year with them.
Right.
How's your family doing?
They're doing good as well too.
That's what's up. Anytime was good, yo.
All right. We'll do this shit in about 6 more minutes. Rocking my fresh polo.
All right. That's what's up. I like it.
Appreciate it. What's good, everybody? Mike, Antoine, what's good? So, how do you like listening to this discography?
I know most of the songs, the hits. Like I didn't hear like a lot of their albums till like now, but
Right.
they have a lot in common with Cool and the Gang. You know.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that for better and for worse.
Yeah. You see the drastic change when Lionel left.
We'll talk about that too.
They got that old slave looking nigga that took over. He had an old face at a young age, yo.
You talking about Walter?
Is that his name? The one on night shift, the dark skin one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he got an old looking face, man.
Mhm.
He got that granny face.
Top 100 R&B albums going to be late January.
I can't wait. My list is done already. Should I send it to you or no?
Nah, keep it a surprise.
My list been done since the summer, since when you announced it. So I don't think it's changing unless D'Angelo come out with some classic album between now and January. It's gonna stay the same. Antoine said his favorite Commodores ever is 74 to 77.
That's my favorite era too. Wow. Yeah, this shouldn't be too long anyway. I'm thinking after Commodores, we gotta do a good hip hop breakdown.
Who haven't we talked about? Wheezy? Like we ain't talked about Wheezy yet.
That's a good part to one. Okay.
You know, do him.
Weezy.
Yeah. Who else? You mentioned Wale to me earlier this year.
Oh yeah, I did say Wale.
And you know how I feel about Wale.
I feel like yeah, I'm not the biggest Wale fan either.
He great. He's a dope lyricist, but his discography is shaky. Weezy, Wale. Yeah, there's a lot of other people we could do. Griselda, I know you mentioned that too.
I said the top five Griselda albums.
Oh, top five was okay. Eric being
I already
Rakim.
talked about all of. I did all the albums honestly.
We already talked about Ti shit already. We missed it.
Actually, nah, we haven't talked about all of Ti's albums.
We did
And
Ti versus TIP. We did King.
we just did Ti versus Tip, and I know I did No Mercy a while back
No
ago.
Mercy. Okay. Yeah, No
Because with
Mercy
Ti,
was.
I was mostly with Ti, I was mostly saving it for album reviews once I get those albums and shit.
Don't save it for No Mercy because I didn't like that one. That was like
Yeah, I'm not in a rush to get that one.
yeah.
All I got is King, Ti versus Tip, and Paper Trail.
I have the f- I have like the first five. Urban Legend is the only one I don't have. And I got unfortunately I have No Mercy, but that wasn't good. There's other shit out the Paper Trail I don't even care for. Like I don't even care to get it. Like his first six to me like his best shit.
Okay. No, this video is not made for kids. Nigga, like, who are the Commodores?
I'll be back.
I'll start whenever you come back. Rock Marciano. Yeah, that's a good one. And just letting you guys know, I'm not going to include the Lionel Richie solo albums here. I already did a review on. We already did a review on what's the album? Dancing on the Ceiling a while back ago, and I'm gonna save my thoughts on the first two when the time is right. You know what I'm saying? Because I do have those albums, so this is just specifically just gonna be for the Commodores up until 1985. And the reason why I put 1985 is because the fact that they left Motown, or Motown dropped them, excuse me, after the Night Shift album. So stay tuned more on that. Yeah, I heard the version of the Night. I heard that version a while back ago. Yes. Finally, come on, man.
My bad.
No, you good, boss. I was just fixing up my shit. I finally got Wi-Fi on my Nintendo Switch and shit.
That's what's up.
Yeah. I'm ready to start whenever you are.
Let's go.
What's up, YouTube? How's everyone doing? Happy New Year. Well, New Year's Eve, excuse me. It's your boy Reg in the building. I got my homeboy Try with me.
What up?
Right. And today, for our last video of the year, we're gonna do something we've been promising on doing it for a while. It's the Commodores Discography breakdown. Motown group, Lionel Richie, where he got his start and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Um, but the thing was, I was just telling the group that we're only going to do up until the Night Shift album,
Right.
because that was the last time that they did before they went to Polydor Records and stuff like that too.
That's
You know
that's
what I'm
actually
saying?
my
So
introduction to them too.
really
Yeah, night shift.
interesting.
Came in
All
on the tail end of them, the bad shit from them.
right. All right. So you know how we fucking do. Well, you already said you got into them with the Night
Well,
Shift
I'm gonna say
album.
it again. Well, officially, I came in on of like what was that? That was what year was this? 84. So I was like that was like around the time that Thriller and Purple Rain was out, and I was listening to those albums, Madonna, Wham, Culture Club, and I came in on that era, watching the video for Night Shift back in the day, and not knowing who the hell they was at that time, and but then like my mom had a lot of those some of those records, and hearing songs like Zoom, a classic song, probably my favorite Commodores joint, Brick House, classic, has been sampled, you know, um, Flying High, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, um, unfortunately, I came in on that era of Commodores when Night Shift came out, and then hearing the classics, being played, and then Lionel Richie broke out, and he was a big solo star, Can't Slow Down, a classic album, you know,
Yes.
Dancing on the Ceiling, a classic album. Those are these are my favorite Lionel Richie albums. You know what I'm saying? Like he was definitely on that level of Michael Jackson and Madonna, Prince, and all that. Phil Collins and them, and when he came out with All Night Long, that's a all time hit smash hit. You know what I'm saying? And I knew Lionel. You know what I'm saying? Like I knew like a lot of the Lionel stuff. Hello, and like I said, All Night Long and Penny Lover and all that. So um just hearing like the old Commodore stuff with him, he definitely is a legend, and it's good to see him getting his respect and his recognition now. Don't wait till he die. I'm glad that they giving him his flowers now. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a long time coming. And I remember seeing, I think it was the '84 Olympics. He did the ceremonies at. Um, '84 Olympics was in Los Angeles, and I remember seeing that as a kid. And I want to say he either did this open ceremonies or he did the closing ceremonies for that. And
I want to say it was an opening.
opening, okay, yeah, I remember seeing that on TV back in the day, and you know, he's a legend. Like you could definitely see like listening to these albums again. You could definitely see the difference and the change between when Lionel was there and then like when he left before the Night Shift album, and it was a difference. Like to me, like they were like one of the best funk bands when he was there. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, like I mentioned, Cool in the Game because like you see the difference with Cool in the Game when they were doing the instrumental albums in the beginning. They brought JT in after a certain time, and then they just blew up with Celebration and Joanna, and you know what I'm saying. And it was a different type. It was a different group when he was in that group, and Commodores are legends, man. Like they had a lot of classic hits, a lot of artists sample their stuff. Lost Boys and Shay Z and so many others, man. Is crazy. You know what I'm saying? And you know, it's good that we can talk about they legacy.
Definitely. Um, I got into the Commodores pretty much when I was little. I guess when I heard the Brick House song, which that's been played in a lot of fucking commercials and movies and stuff like that too. You know what I'm saying? I definitely feel like they're. I definitely feel like they were definitely a very, very, very unique group because you gotta remember they signed to Motown, and when people think Motown during like the mid to late '70s, sometimes they want to say some shit like they had like a quote unquote drought or whatever,
Right.
or they weren't putting out the best material, which I kind of feel like that's kind of over exaggerated if you ask me, because people got to remember Stevie Wonder's albums like Fulfilling His First Finale, Songs in the Key of Life came out around the mid '70s.
Right.
Um, Marvin Gaye's I Want Cheeks was still doing steady numbers and shit too. You know what I'm saying?
Crazy.
Diana Ross's album, the one with Love Hangover, was still a big hit.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the Jacksons was still commercially, they were still on a decline and stuff like that too. You know what I'm saying? They were still pulling out numbers. And then the reason why I'm interested in doing this discography breakdown when it comes to the Commodores is just their legitimacy and how they kept the funk alive. You know what I'm saying? Because
Right.
it's funny because when we talked about Cool in the Game and stuff like that too, I said there was like three different eras of Cool in the Game.
Mm-hmm.
With Commodores, I felt like I could give them a pass because yeah, they experimented with like country, R&B, and stuff like that too. But besides, in contrast to Cool in the Game, they kept their songwriting in house. Cool in
Right.
the Game went to go look for outside songwriters and shit too.
Right.
And with that in-house songwriting, you saw the rise of one of the best songwriters, not just in Motown history. So, well, excuse me, singer-songwriter, not just in Motown history, but of his era, Lionel Richie and stuff too. You know what I'm saying? Now, granted, I do admit some albums are more funkier than others. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? I definitely feel like when it comes to Cool and the Commodores, I feel like when it comes to like the Motown history, they kind of don't get their just due, in my personal opinion, because especially when it comes to Motown in the '70s, because Motown in the '60s was like the more popular era when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to like musicologists and shit.
Right.
I'm more for a '70s Motown guy. I'm more for what's going on, looking through the window, you know, um, any albums in Stevie's classic period, and so on and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And then okay, there we go. But then when we get to like the late '70s, that's when you had the Rick James, the Switches,
Mm-hmm.
the Tina Marie's, and then the Commodores. They were lucky enough to debut during that mid '70s, because yeah, the Machine Gun album that was we're gonna get into that, but I feel like their popularity blew up during like '75, '76
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that too, which I'll explain in a minute. Yeah, I forgot Q DeBarge too, but I was mostly just talking mostly on '70s Motown and shit. But yeah, and I feel like the Commodores not only did they was the key ingredient to Motown's like funk sound during like the '70s. I
Mm-hmm.
personally feel like they still held their own when it came to like a lot of imploding styles and stuff like that too. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to like the
Right.
Motown dynasty. So
Mm-hmm.
this discography breakdown is gonna be a little interesting. Now, granted, the Lionel Richie era albums, I can honestly say I enjoy pretty much all of them in its own special way. Some
Right.
albums are better than others. The 74 to 77 years, those years are my favorite, which I'm gonna explain more of that.
Right.
Now, without further ado, oh, I forgot to mention we gotta talk about the members of the Commodores. So the members include William Wack King. He plays like the trumpet, guitar, keyboards, and vocals. Walter Orange, he played like the drums and vocals. Lionel Richie, of course, keyboard, saxophone, vocals. Milan Williams, very underrated rhythm guitarist and keyboardist and stuff like that. Rest in peace to Milan Williams, by the way.
Yeah.
The way how he got canned from the group was fucked up, but that's all I gotta say. Thomas McClary, you know what I'm saying? Those like the main members. Then you had Sheldon Reynolds who came in '83. Skylar Jett, he replaced what's his name, Lionel Richie and stuff like that too. Which we'll explain more about that in a minute. So yeah, so let's get started with 1974, Machine Gun. This came out in summertime of '74. Oh, one more thing before we go in. All the albums that in the Lionel Richie era had production by James Anthony Carmichael. Very, very, very dope producer. He done like a lot of shit for a lot of acts like Atlantic Star,
Mhm.
the Jackson Five, the Temptations, and stuff like that too. He's definitely one of the illest producers and stuff like that too. And he even did work on Lionel Richie's first three albums too. So
Man.
that should tell you something about his craftsmanship. But back to this album. Yeah, so this album was a very, very, very dope album. This was pretty different in comparison to some of the other albums and stuff like that too. You know what I'm saying? Some of the other future albums because they strictly kept it on the funk level with this record too. You know what I'm saying? It was mostly like an instrumental. What?
Cool G, what's good?
Oh, what's up, Kuji? Yeah, man. Um, so yeah, they strictly kept it on the funk level with this one and stuff like that too. You know what I'm saying? The title track alone is a very, very, very funk bass driven track right there too. Then you had songs like "Young Girls on My Weakness" was pretty good. The Zoo, "Gonna Blow Your Mind," Superman. Like even though this album he didn't have as much songwriting from Lionel Richie, the other members held their own. Personally, this is like my second or third favorite album. I feel like this is one of the stronger Motown debuts I've heard. Five mics, dead ass.
Machine Gun Funk. I love the fact that Biggie used that for his song "I'm Ready to Die," and this was a great album. I love the funk production, and it just has that '70s sound to it, and I feel sanctified. Very funky track. Love the beat for that, and the bass line and the horn arrangements. The title track, real funky instrumental. I think it is one of the better albums. Like I said, like listening to the first album, from the first album all the way to the last album that Lionel did on In the Pocket. I think like the first nine are like their best stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like there
Yeah,
might be like one or two albums where it might have been mediocre stuff, but like for the majority of these stuff, if you love Lionel Richie, listen to the first nine albums, because I think after that, like he left after In the Pocket. Like that's when they came out with Night Shift and all that other garbage. But um, I think this was a strong album, and Lionel, listening to him on a lot of these tracks, like his voice just fits the production, the funk production, and the melodies. It was great. So I'm gonna give it 5 mics.
yeah, definitely a five mic album right here. Then the second album they came out with, "Caught in the Act." Just again, we're still on the good side of things right here. Now, I'm not gonna hold you. I feel like this album was as good as Machine Gun, but I felt like in some other ways it wasn't as good as Machine Gun because so with this album right here, they kind of focus on a bit more like the R&B side of things compared to Machine Gun, which again, which again was not bad at all. You know what I'm saying? Because they were still doing some dope shit. You know what I'm saying? Like some of the earliest favorites here, like "This Is Your Life," one of Lionel's best vocally
Definitely.
songs and written songs he's ever done.
Hmm.
"I'm Ready" was pretty good too. "Slipping When Wet" was another good track as well. You know, now I feel like compared to other Future albums, the balance between the funk and the R&B was not as strong. You know what I'm saying? But that doesn't really say that this album's a bad album. D. You know what I'm saying? I feel like this is a very, very, very solid album, and I would definitely recommend it. I'll give this a point 0.5 out of 5.
I think it's a dope album. I love This Is Your Life. Like it's really melodic
Yeah.
ballad. The pianos. Once the pianos come on, you knew it was gonna be like a ballad that Lionel was gonna kill. You know, the nice slow beat, the horns on that, and you had Lionel singing, you know, round and round we go. People come and people go. Love makes the world go round. The thing we play is lost and found. Love that. That is a classic ballad by the Commodores. Lionel killed that joint. Slippery When Wet, more up tempo, funky track. Love the guitars on that, the beat. They singing, if you ain't taking care of business, what you expect. Love gets slippery when it's wet. Classic records on here. Um I'm gonna give it 4.5. I think it's still a solid sophomore album. You know, some people might like this one more than Machine Gun Funk, but I think they're both good. So I'm gonna give it 4.5.
Yeah. Very dope. Very dope. All right. Now, album number 3, we got Moving On. Um, this album to me was pretty decent. Not gonna lie, this might be my least favorite off the 74 to 77 album. You know what I'm saying? But again, not a bad album indeed. It's just decent in comparison to the previous two.
Right.
I love the Cebu track, which was the instrumental. Mary Mary was pretty good too. You know what I'm saying? I love the horn arrangement. I feel like the horn arrangements was what really saved this album, in my personal opinion, and shit too. You know what I'm saying? So I'll give this a 4.4 or 5.
This was a good album. Sweet Love was one of my favorites. I love the breakdown in that song with when Lionel it's just Lionel singing and the instruments, so it's the Spears instruments, and that was a great song and free, really funky track. Love the guitars on that, the beat, the bass line, and Moving On was a good album. That was I don't like it as much as the first two, but there are some joints on it that was banging to me, and I'm gonna give it 3.5.
Definitely, definitely hear your point about that. Now, hot on the tracks. This is the album right here where they definitely went in and stuff like that too. I feel like they incorporated more of like a slick sound, with this album and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Now, granted, there was some songs where they kind of did touch a little bit on the disco side of things. You know what I'm saying? Which this was like 76. This was like early disco, of which I mean they didn't really oversaturate it. Thank God they didn't really oversaturate it. But still, I feel like this album was very, very dope. Dope. A lot of the unique songs came from this one, like "High on Sunshine." Let's Get Started was a nice little track.
Mhm.
Um, Just to Be Close to You, which probably one of the
Classic.
first successful ballads that they've ever done
That they still
and
play that
stuff
like
like
in
that. You know what I'm
commercials and
saying?
stuff.
Yes. I love the instrumentation to that, like dan dan dan. I love how slick without it's schmaltzy, but it's not sentimental schmaltzy and
Right.
stuff like that too. You know what I'm saying? Which something I've always liked about their ballads and stuff like that too. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So this is a 5 out of 5.
Dope album. From the jump, let's get started. A great track, funky beat, the horns on that. Just be close to you, like I mentioned, like that's a classic ballad from them, and they've played that like in movies and commercials. And I don't. For me, I don't think it's a classic. I think it's very good though. Um, I think this is when like they
Facts.
found they this is when like they really found their stride. They really found they were in the like getting into the bag on this album, and it just kept getting better and better with after that, and that they had like a lot of big hits that people would know on this album and the next ones coming up. But I think it was a good album. I'll give it 4.5.
Definitely a 4.5 album. Now the next album to me might be my favorite album they've ever came out with. The self-titled album from 1977. This is one of my favorite, probably my favorite album that they came out with. Um, and something I would probably call this album like the apex in their musical discography. This album was known for classic songs like Zoom, you know what I'm saying? Which I'm not gonna lie, I like the song. I noticed that song's more of like a fan favorite with
Yeah.
like a lot of people and shit like that. Shout out to my boy Eric. And yeah. But I mean I don't like it as much as like a lot of Commodores fans like it, but that's not
Mm,
dissing the song in any way. I love songs like Brick House,
mm.
which people sometimes want to say that's a disco song, which I don't really consider that song disco. It's too funky
Is
and
it
shit
is
like
it
that too. You know what I'm
you
saying?
consider it like a disco boogie?
No,
No.
I mean if people say it has like a disco groove to it,
Mm,
I mean I wouldn't get mad about that, but I won't call this song full out disco and shit like that too. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just my personal opinion.
mm,
And then you have songs like and this song I forgot about this song too. Funky Situation. Oh,
mm.
that's a very horn driven track right there. You know what I'm saying? And of course, my favorite Commodore song, Easy.
Easy.
You know, which again, that song right there, man, that kind of had like a country influence groove to it as well too. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? But at the same time, it still flies as like a soul pop rock kind of song and stuff like that too. You know what I'm saying? The Faith No More version, they're actually pretty good too. You know what I'm saying?
They did a version of
Very
that.
yeah,
The Rock Band.
the rock band, yeah.
Wow, I never heard that.
Yeah, man. I fuck with Faith No More.
I know.
Their earlier albums are pretty good. You said what?
I said I know. You told me that that was like one of your favorite your bands.
Yeah, yeah, man. But this to me is their best album. 5 out of 5.
Definitely their best album. Two of those big hits on this album were sampled by Dipset members. Jewel's, well, not
Yes.
Jewel's. Cam sampled Easy for Hey Ma, and Jim Jones
Oh
sampled
yes.
Zoom for one of his mixtapes that maybe he couldn't clear the sample for it or whatever. Ended up on one of his mixtapes, and both of those songs, all three of those songs, I love. I think those are like some of the best Commodore joints. Brick House, classic record. Just for those three hits right there, it's like this album is great. Funky Situation, that was a great record as well. 5 mics for me.
Yeah, 5 mic album indeed. Now I know you're not really too big on live records, but I do want to mention the Commodore's live album
Okay.
that came out also the same year. You know what I'm saying? As far as live albums though, this was a pretty cool release. Something that diehard Commodores fans should have. I like the version of Zoom mostly on. I like the version of Zoom on this album
Hmm.
and stuff like that too. I love the instrumentation that they use. Um, this album also has a song "Too Hot to Trot." You know what I'm saying? I'll give this a 4 out of 5 when it comes to live albums.
Oh,
Excuse me. Now, 1978, we got the Natural High album. Um, This album was an interesting album to say the least. In my opinion, in terms of the Lionel album, Lionel era can talk today. This might be my least favorite album, and the reason being because I felt like with this one, some of the grooves were like a bit more polished and lighthearted. And again, they're not like the most dirtiest when it comes to like the funk groups and stuff like that too. You know what I'm saying? But it did have some good songs, like Three Times a Lady. That was a
Classic.
cool song.
Hmm.
I like what she wrote that for his parents' anniversary too.
Oh wow.
Um, yeah, I like what you do. I love that track right there. I felt like it got a bit more funkier towards the last couple of tracks
Yeah.
and stuff. I felt like the first half, minus Three Times a Lady and maybe Flying High, was kind of a little shaky.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But like again before, I feel like for Commodores fans, you should find something to enjoy here. So I'm gonna give this 4 out of 5.
Definitely a great album. I love Flying High. That's always been one of my favorite joint on this album. And Three Times a Lady, another classic ballad. You know, Lionel killed that. What else? Such a Woman. That was a dope cut. I like what you do. I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5. You know, like I said, like they just kept coming with the hits, and you know, they were in a bag already on this album. So
Right. All right. In 1979, they came out with, in my personal opinion, probably their most underrated album. And I was surprised. I kind of like this one, Midnight Magic.
hmm
Now, this one, in my personal opinion, is like their most. I would say it's their most popish album.
yeah,
You
I
know what I'm
agree.
saying? You said what?
I agree.
Right. Like it does have its usage of. I feel like with this album, honestly, it has the best of the previous albums, and they combined it to a sense where they try to make it appeal to everybody. Like it has some of the funk laden grooves of like the earlier albums, like Machine Funk. Yet it has some of the polished horn arrangements of like Caught in the Act and stuff like that too.
Right.
Whereas the showmanship is still on a high since like the self-titled album from '77. You know what I'm saying? I love the song Still.
Still
Still
was
was a
fire.
very dope song.
Definitely, he killed it.
He says fire, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the Soul Train performance where they performed this and this girl was crying and shit like that?
Nah. What year was that?
That was like '79.
Nah, I
They had
never
like a
seen it.
whole show dedicated to the Commodores and stuff like that, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
But yeah, then you have Wonderland, one of Milan Williams' best written songs on this project and stuff too. Loving You was pretty good. You know what I'm saying? Getting It. Like this whole fucking album was just a nice arrangements and stuff. I feel like the critics was a bit too harsh on this album. You know what I'm saying?
Why?
They kind of. You said what?
Why was they harsh on the album? Man?
Because they felt like they were a bit saying that they were a bit too disco dance numbers and stuff like that. But at the same time, they still remain funky as hell and stuff like that in comparison to like Cool in the Game and shit too. You know what I'm saying? Which I know I'm gonna keep using a lot of funk groups and pinpoints and stuff like that when I'm talking about this breakdown and stuff like that too. You know what I'm saying? But I just have to say because they were all up on Cool in the Game's ass at this time and shit. You know what I'm saying? But
Rightfully so.
I feel like this might be one of my favorites. I'll give this a 4.5 out of 5.
What did you think about the song "Ceylon"? Because that when I heard that song, it's like this is a country record that Lionel Richie is singing.
I didn't care for it too much to be real
You
with
didn't
you.
care for that? I'm
Like
listening. I'm
again,
like,
so
this is like what country R&B?
well, you'll be surprised, but country and R&B has like a lot of links with one another. Like look at Ray Charles with the modern sounds of country and stuff like that too.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, the Commodores compared to other groups, compared to other acts like Bobby Womack, they kind of did it the best too because their roots was all up in Alabama, like Tuskegee, Alabama and shit too. So
Right.
I thought of it like that, but at least they didn't fully dive into country and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? They still wanted to keep the black audiences appeal and
Right.
stuff.
I think when you hear Ceylon, that song could have been on one of Lionel's solo albums because he his sound changed after he left the group anyway. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And I'm like, yo, like Lionel is doing a country ballad on a Commodores album. That's crazy. You know what I mean? And even the way that he's singing it in that like country drawl, I'm like, yo, he sound like you close your eyes, you might sound like Waylon Jennings or some shit. You know what I mean? But that was interesting. I thought that was an interesting song. I don't think it fit the album though. It was
It
just weird,
didn't.
like Lionel doing a country song. But that was interesting. Still was great. I love the pianos on that. Again, like when you hear the pianos and it's a slow song on a Commodores album, Lionel is going to kill it.
I love it.
That was his thing. So I loved it. I think it's a solid album. I'm gonna give it 4.5.
Definitely. Now, we're gonna talk about their most polarizing album to date. Cause I know a lot of fans that love this fucking album, and I know a lot of fans that talk mad shit about this fucking album. Heroes. Okay, let's get to the nitty gritty. So this was in my personal opinion, their most mature and their most grown up album to date. And you know, whenever we talked about a mature album, I'm
Mm-hmm.
very in particular about being quick to love it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Compared to other records, like I know your issues with Jay-Z's 444
Oh Lord,
comes to mind for you and stuff
overrated.
like
That's
that. You
my
know what I'm
issue.
saying?
It's not a bad album. It's just that the minute it came out, it's like these kids is like, oh, this is a classic. So I guess y'all in here Reasonable Doubt and Hard Knock Life and Blueprint. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't even
Right.
think it's on that level.
Oh no, I love 444, but it's not touching those three classics
Right.
and stuff. Hell, it's not even touching Volume One. To be real with you.
Fuck no.
But yeah, and then even when we recently talked about the whole Nas with the King's Disease, I'm gonna say King's Disease 3 and stuff like that too. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
but then when he comes to like the Commodores, they were talking about like a lot of different topics. Like it had like a more of a gospel flavor to it. You know what I'm saying? And I might be real, but this actually might be my second favorite album they've ever came out with.
Okay.
I feel like this album to me gets so much fucking hate, in my opinion. Like it was spiritual, but it was not preachy. And
Right.
that takes for you know what I'm saying. But it was also around this time too where you had Lionel and certain members of the group kind of not seeing eye to eye and stuff like that too. You know what I'm saying? Because now he was pretty much writing all the songs. Well, and even if not all the songs, he was doing his thing on the arrangements and stuff like that too. And you have songs like "Jesus Is Love," which that's a classic song. I love "Heroes," "Old Fashioned Love," which I almost thought Beyonce sampled that for "Love on Top" because
Right.
I don't know if it was just me, but it definitely had that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was just me, but
Yeah. Yeah. It do. It do.
okay. The horn arrangements was some of the best I've ever heard on a Commodores record. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, I definitely feel like this album was another stellar album. Now, granted, when I say it's my second favorite, I'm not trying to like neglect the fact that the previous albums from '74 to '77 and stuff like that too, because there's some things I felt like it excelled on this album. There's some things I felt like it could have been done better.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I feel like this is a perfect album for them from this era. Might be probably one of my top albums on R&B of that year too. So yeah,
Yeah. It was dope. Old Fashioned Love, one of my favorites. Really funky. Love the background vocals to that. The beat, got to be together. Dope beat. The bass line, the guitar playing on that. I definitely think it was solid. I don't know. I didn't know the fans went crazy for this one, but it's definitely like one of the last great albums with Lionel, on vocals for this. So give it 4.5. I'm gonna give it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give this a 4.5 as well too. Alrighty, now we're gonna go to the last album with Lionel Richie. Unfortunately, we're gonna go to In the Pocket. Now, granted, I feel like with people having their mixed reactions to the Heroes album, they want to do an album where people could just dance and just vibe out and stuff like that too. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much what I got from In the Pocket. So I felt like this is a very fun album, very reminiscent of some of the earlier albums and stuff like that too. You know what I'm saying? Lady, you bring me up when I'm down. I mean, that's a classic Commodores record and stuff like that. Again, another very horn arrangement that was used and stuff too. You had more vocal arrangements from like Walter and Thomas on this record. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. When you come to this Commodores album, you know what you about to expect: ballads, lighthearted R&B records, and stuff like that. Danceable tracks. Saturday Night. I love that record right there.
Right.
Been loving you. Why you want to try me? I felt like the first maybe half of this album, maybe first five songs were my favorites. The last couple of tracks was good, but not touching the first half. You know what I'm saying? That's probably something that I would say Heroes excelled better was the sequencing. But I'm gonna give this a 4 out of 5. I feel like it was a nice little turnout for Lionel before he went solo and shit.
Yeah. Been loving you was dope. Um. Oh no, classic ballad. Again, the pianos, the slow beat. Lionel killed it. Lady, you bring me up. That to me sounded like a pop record. That like when I heard
Yes.
that sounded like something cool in the game would have did. And the video's hilarious. They like wearing like short shorts in the summertime. I guess it's like what 80. What was this like 84? They're
81.
wearing like 81. They were wearing like shorts and like really short shorts, in the summer and they like in a park and it's like they're checking out chicks and all that and video is hilarious. You gotta watch the video. But that is like a pop record, you know what I'm saying? And it was a feel good album and unfortunately the last album with Lionel. I noticed that when like Lionel, it seemed like he did like all of the ballads and like
Yeah.
the feel good crossover songs, and then Walter would do like the funky tracks. You know what I'm saying?
No. Yeah. Walter and
Um,
Milan.
yeah, so maybe they planned it like that, or but yeah, it was a good album. I'm gonna give it 4.5.
Yeah, definitely. And unfortunately, this is probably the last album of Lionel Richie to date. And they were going through a transitional period between, excuse me, In the Pocket and 13, which has a very ironic title. So around this time, they were going through like a lot of bad luck. Of course, Lionel, not only did Lionel Richie leave for a solo career, but they also lost their main producer, James Anthony Carmichael, as he went to go work with Lionel Richie on those first couple of albums. Then their manager had a heart attack and he had to leave and stuff like that too, you know what I'm saying? So they ended up producing the albums and stuff like that. And then that's when they got in Skylar as a lead vocalist. No, wait, hold on, let me see. No. Skylar didn't come until the night shift album, excuse me. But then they were just alternating lead vocals between Harold, Walter, and Thomas too, and stuff like that. And so that's when the 13 album came out. Now, obviously, when we came to this album, I'll be the first to say that the next two albums we're going to talk about are not touching the Lionel Richie run, but at the same time, I wouldn't call those albums disappointments right from the gate. You know what I'm saying? This album might be my least favorite of the two. You know, it definitely had a new wave R&B feel to it, and I
Yeah,
noticed because like a lot of Motown acts around this time was kind of flirting with a new wave sound, like Temptations, DeBarge, in a way, because in a special way, kind of had like a little some new wave ish kind of songs
classic.
too.
That's my favorite The Barge
Yes,
album.
same. But with the Commodores album, and then also too when it comes to like this time in '83, funk music was not as popular like that. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, you have the Minneapolis sound,
Yeah,
but at the same time, like the horn-driven funk, as I should say, was not as popular as like a lot of those acts, like Earth, Wind, and Fire.
yeah,
Um, they were Confunction. They were using like drum machines and synths and stuff like that too. You know
right.
what I'm saying? So yeah, man. Which I'm gonna have to do a video about those years of funk, by the way, and stuff like that too, because
Mhm.
funk was still light in the Minneapolis sound. That's when it was still kicking because you still had the Princes and the
Yeah,
Times,
the
the
Jets,
Alexander O'Neal's,
the
Jesse
Jets.
Johnson, all of the Jets
Mhm.
too. Yes, but on a positive note, there was still some cool songs that I definitely fucked with. Like the Turn Off the Lights joint was pretty cool. Old Woman You, Welcome Home. I felt like those were pretty solid songs in its own right, but eh, I feel like this album is decent. I mean, it's not the worst album compared to their post '85 material, but yeah, I feel like it's still pretty good. I'll give it a
The
three
o-
mics.
the only song I acknowledge with that title, "Turn Off the Lights," is Teddy. That was a classic ballad by Teddy. I don't like the Commodores' "Turn Off the Lights," but yeah, that album for me was like Lionel is gone. You know what I'm saying? Like Lionel was the star of this group, and he took his voice and he took his mainstream dreams and he went solo and he blew up solo and left them in the dust and is hasn't been the same since then for them. You know what I'm saying? And you could tell the difference with the production and the songs, and it's just a different feeling when Lionel is gone. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I'm gonna let you go into the night shift. I gotta get something from the bathroom right quick.
Now, unfortunately, I came in on this era of the Commodores with Night Shift, not the same Commodores like the earlier albums. Matter of fact, I think Night Shift might be the only song on here that I liked. You know what I'm saying? Like that was a hit for when it came out, but at this point, it was like like they're rocking like leather pants on the album cover, and yeah, it just wasn't good. I didn't care for this iteration of the Commodores, but yeah, it's not great.
Got you. All right. So the last album, Night Shift. Let's talk about this one because I'm gonna try to be fair with this one. With this, I'm gonna try to be fair. So this was the album where you had more departures coming and stuff like that too. This is the last album with the original bass guitarist Ronald Lepre and shit too. And
Who's the Spanish dude, yo? Who's the Spanish dude?
that was JD Nicholas. He was from
Okay.
Heatwave.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, he was from Heatwave and stuff. And they had chosen Dennis Lambert as the producer. And Dennis Lambert, he was known for doing like a lot of shit for like the Four Tops, Tony Orlando and Don and stuff like that too. The Taviers. He did a Baby Comeback song for Playa. He did Don't Look Any Further for Dennis Edwards and stuff like that too. You know what I'm
Fire.
saying? So his track record, okay, that was a good track record. But then when it also came to this album, They had other musicians playing it too. You know what I'm saying? Just for like overdubs and stuff like that. And the album itself is actually not that bad of an album. To be real with you.
Really,
Now,
really.
of course. Let me explain. Let me explain. Does it have like the Thriller syndrome, Purple Rain syndrome?
Yes,
Absolutely.
everybody was doing it.
Is it? Yes. Is it funk driven? Is it funky? No. Is it touching anything from the Lionel Richie era? No. But the reason why I liked this one compared to some of the other albums they did in this period was, well, I guess the production was pretty unique for them, like that synth pop production. Like, yeah, Night Shift, everyone knows that song, but Animal Instinct, I love that track, believe it or not.
Mm.
I like Lay Back was pretty good. Slip of the Tongue was pretty solid, you know, had nice instrumentation. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of felt like, while everyone knows the song Night Shift because it was a tribute to Marvin Gaye and Jackie Wilson, which that was pretty much the big success when it comes to this album. I personally didn't feel like Motown really promoted a lot of this album too much. And it's crazy too because Motown dropped them right after this album had came out. And that's when they went to Polydor Records, which I'm not going to talk about those albums because I heard bits and pieces of those latter albums. It was you're not missing nothing. I'm just gonna be real with you. Like you're not missing nothing. And then they actually kicked out Malal Williams out of the group too because I think he refused to perform with them in South Africa and stuff like that because I think he has to deal with some stuff with his family. It was a couple of different stories with that, but
Right.
they kicked him out the group and stuff. And yeah, it wasn't really looking good for the Commodores after that period because they even like just they just really started like remixing some of the older material like that. I know in the last episode of Don Cornelius when he was on Soul Train, they did a version of Brick House but with a hip hop beat to it, like a New Jack Swing hip hop beat
Jesus Christ.
and stuff too. So yeah, that should tell you something. But overall, I had a lot of fun and re-listening to some of the Commodores discography. I felt like compared to other Motown acts where like the lead singer left the group and stuff like that, like Diana Ross leaving the Supremes. I feel like they still kind of held their own throughout like the mid '70s transitional period up until like the early '80s and stuff too. You know what I'm saying? So I actually feel like this was a pretty good discography they had.
Would
If
you
you know what
say
you're looking.
like for the Night Shift album? Would you have used Rick James on production for them?
Absolutely, that's actually not a bad idea
Right.
because at that same time he did Party All the Time for them too
Right.
for Eddie
Right.
Murphy.
Right. That's what they needed. They needed Rick. The same shit that he gave Temptations, he could have gave them on this album.
Yeah, but at the same time too, Rick James was going at it with Motown a lot at that time. He was leaving Motown around that
Right.
time too. So I don't even think Motown would have really utilized him to his
Right.
potential. All right, y'all. I'm gonna stay on for probably another 5-10 minutes and shit. Okay. Yeah, this is a fun breakdown we did.
Yeah, this is cool. So good.
Put this to sleep. Dennis Edwards is an underrated singer from the Temptations. I wouldn't necessarily call him underrated. I feel like he gets his love. But respect. So you want to do Wale next?
Yeah, we do Wale or Weezy. We could do them next. I know
Let's
I
do Wale.
Wale. I've heard everything up until he did an EP that came, not an EP. He did like a mixtape album that came out a couple years ago. I didn't hear all his shit because like when he was doing that Afrobeat bullshit and those EPs, I just was skipping them. But I've
Okay.
heard the first album was good. It was, I think that first album was his best. Ambition I liked, but the production just sounded like Rick Ross all over it. The Gifted had some joints, but after that it was like I'm like, first of all, why are you on MMG? You need to be indie again, bro. That's when he was doing his best shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Right.
why are you on Rick Ross label? He don't even promote for his ass. You know what I'm saying? Why are you on it? I mean, if anything, he got a little bit more exposure, but he's not like selling multi-platinum on you. You know what I mean? You could have stayed indie and kept your self respect. I never understood why he wanted to sign with Rick Ross label. He don't fit with them.
It was a tax write-off.
It was something, you know. But yeah, I'm a just you know check out some of those EPs. But I remember when they came out and I didn't like anything I heard from him. His mixtapes are great. More about nothing and all that, and the Back to the Future mixtape he did with Ninth Wonder. I like his mixtapes, but again, these niggas when they do the albums, they can't do a classic. You know what I'm saying? The mixtapes is easy for them. When they do a album, they struggle.
Exactly. That's the bullshit.
Yeah. When you got to turn in that radio friendly joint, it's like what you turning in, especially when you're not accustomed to being played on the radio. Now you forced to like make a crossover single and shit.
Okay. Ouch. Sam said, "Miss you" or "Wake up everybody." I'm assuming that's from Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. I'm gonna have to go with "Wake up everybody." I never liked that "Miss You" song.
Wake up, everybody. Classic record. Definitely that one.
Miss you, miss you. Never liked that record. Oh my god. Huh. 2022 can kiss my ass. I know tomorrow we got the Jade double breakdown of the double album review of Jade.
Underrated group, yo. They're not mentioned enough.
Don't walk away.
Sign off fix too.
Yeah, this upcoming week and then the next week, I'm gonna do after that. I'm gonna go on break after next week.
Yeah.
We got a good trash review we got coming up.
Jesus Christ. I'm not
You
even
said
taking
what?
no notes yet. I ain't taking no notes. Nothing. Oh man.
At least it's a female rapper.
What that mean?
It was either this or R. Kelly and Jay Z. It was either that.
That is not a trash album. I don't know why you keep saying that. Give me Best of Both
It's
Worlds
trash to
over that
me.
trashy album we about to talk about. No. Best of Both Worlds was better.
Also for this week, the reviews are going to be a little bit earlier because I gotta work late night all next week and shit like that too. So most of the reviews are going to be around 5 or 6 p.m.
All right. Friday. I
It's
do
cool with
my
me.
shit at 7 though. So hmm?
You said what?
I said Friday. I do my other podcast at 7.
Oh, we got something planned for Friday. Let me check.
Yeah, you said Friday at
I know.
midnight.
I know. I get off at 11. Huh?
Friday at midnight. What we doing at midnight?
Oh yeah, that's the trash review.
Okay. Oh boy.
Cause I get off at
That's
11.
that's
I get off at
that's
11 p.m.
the perfect way to end the week, right? We ain't gotta take no notes or nothing. 'Cause I would just be chilling. I'm like, you.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
it's
let you
easy.
talk about it because I didn't like nothing from that fucking album. I don't even think she's a real rapper.
Honestly, I never heard the album in full, so
Yeah, you ain't missing nothing. I was on her street team for that album. That album was sucks. That's how bad it was. Like I got rid of that shit. You know,
oh
you know
lord.
what I'm saying? You ain't missing nothing.
Yeah, the pretty Tony album. I can't wait for that one.
Yeah.
And that's
I
that's
think I
that's a good
think one
album.
of these I think one of these albums ever got for me.
You said what?
I said I think one of these albums ever got for me.
Oh shit.
But it's not coming till Tuesday though, supposedly. Maybe we'll get it here earlier.
Yeah, you know Amazon be tripping sometimes and shit.
I don't know where you got it from. If it's eBay or I don't know where you got it from, but OJ's for the love of money or stylistics, people make the world go round. For the love of money.
People make the world go round.
Both of those are class. I think I got both of them on vinyl actually, but for the love of money, that's my drink.
Yeah, rest in peace, Tom Bell.
Yeah.
Y'all ready for the All in the Family breakdown?
Yeah. Finally a good show that I like. Finally a good
Come
show.
on, we talk about shows you like.
Yeah. We haven't done it recently though.
We did Thundercats.
How long ago was that?
That was like maybe 2, 3 months ago.
It's too long.
I know you still recovering from Taxi.
Yeah, I am. I don't think I'll ever get over it.
Yeah. These firework motherfuckers want to take their asses home.
Right?
Oh yeah, we did Martin. What you talking about? We did Martin and Living Single.
When was that? I thought that was months ago. Wasn't that months ago?
Martin was like last month with him. last
Oh,
month and a half.
okay. Those are good. You sprinkling in the bullshit with the good stuff.
Yeah, mixing one with the good with some of the obscure shit, you know.
Jesus Christ.
Plus we got the honeymooners coming up too and shit.
Oh, another favorite that I love.
See,
And then you're gonna sprinkle in some bullshit like Frasier or something, or Seinfeld or some shit.
I mean, so far it's gonna be All in the Family, Jeffersons, Cheers, Honeymooners.
Okay.
Maybe Steve Harvey show after that. Maybe I don't know yet.
Mm,
Maybe.
okay. Steve always show I watched once in the blue.
You said what?
I said I watched it once in the blue. The Steve Harvey show.
Who's the boss or Different Strokes? I'm about to go with Different Strokes, honestly.
Yeah, different strokes. What you talking about, Willis?
Okay. All right, y'all. It's about to be 8 o'clock. You know, I gotta end off this video right here because I'm about to be on the road. So, yeah, man, this has been a dope year of reviews and shit like that.
Yeah.
Um, thank y'all so much for holding it down. Thank y'all so much for watching this Commodores breakdown and shit like that. Catch us tomorrow in the new year. We're gonna kick off the new year right with Jade's
Yes.
first two albums and stuff like that. You know, well, the only
Yeah.
two albums,
Yeah.
stuff too. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's gonna be a very interesting week. You know, after the week after next, then I'm gonna go on like a little break from doing reviews and shit like that. Yeah, man, gotta get some shit, some money together. Gotta get some shit together and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Appreciate this try as usual and whatnot
Yes.
too. Shout out to
Shout
everybody.
out to you, bro.
Hope
Shout
everyone
out
has.
to you. Shout out to you. 10 years coming up on 2023. We gotta definitely celebrate. Shout out to Ashley and Mike
Yes,
and
yes,
BJ and Rock Lady and Eric and the whole crew. We built a great
yes.
community here of collectors and people that just fuck with our content, and I appreciate everybody for doing that. So happy New Year to you all.
Yeah, I appreciate that shit too. Yes, yes, man. Thank y'all so much for watching and subscribing and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Hope everybody has a safe, happy new year. Hope everybody's like, if y'all want to go out partying and whatnot, that's cool. Just be safe about your surroundings. Um, yeah, man. Be safe about everything, you know what I'm saying? Just make sure y'all stay protected. COVID is still running
Mhm.
rampage and stuff like that too, unfortunately. So yeah, man. Hope everyone be safe and I'll see y'all later.
All
Peace.
right, peace.